Title's not clickbait. I am moving to London. So, bing bong. No, I'm just kidding. Happy Vlogmas, everyone. Welcome back to our channel. This is just gonna be a brief video updating you guys on my life. You know, we've kept tabs on Angel's life through like new jobs and moving, and everyone knew that Angel was gonna stay in DC permanently and that I was not. And that I was not, period, is now upon us. I felt like the year was pretty long. It felt like a long year, but at the same time, the new year kind of took me by storm, and I just woke up one day and it was December. To give some background, if you don't know me yet, my name is Sam, one half of Sisters-in-Law. I work in New York as an attorney. However, I've been living in DC for about 9 months now because of the pandemic and the work from home situation. We're still living in a pandemic, of course. We have this new variant, but at the same time, offices are starting to open back up. People are going back to the office. I have to decide, you know, where I'm going back in the office to. And for me, that was never gonna be DC because I just don't like living in DC enough. I own a home in DC and that's like a whole nother story. I was deciding between New York, London, California, and that was it. I'm barred in New York, pending admission in California. As an aside, let me know if you guys want me to talk a little bit more about my California swearing in process and getting admitted, because as you can see, tons of people took the bar after me and have been sworn in. I'm still not, still pending, even though I have cleared character and fitness and all this stuff, so I can like talk a little bit more about that if you want me to. Back to what I was saying. Pending admission in California, I'm barred in New York, and I just didn't know where I wanted to live. I wanted to live somewhere else. I really did. And Title's not clickbait. I am moving to London. To all of our Team Esquire supporters that are in the UK, like, drop some recommendations. Tell me where I need to live. Tell me where I need to see. Currently, I'm thinking about East London as far as like finding an apartment and all that kind of stuff. And we'll talk a little bit more about how that will be incorporated into the channel at a later date. But anyway, this is about why I decided to move to London, how I'll be working in London as an attorney that's only barred in New York and pending admission in California. Will I be like going to school in London? Will I have to get a license in London? All that kind of stuff. So that's what I want to clear up here. So firstly, why did I want to move to London? I don't know many people in London. There are a few people from law school that moved to London after graduation that I've been in contact with. Other than that, I have family in London, but I don't know them too well. However, my stepdad has a family that he's really close to in London, so I probably will connect with them. During bar trip after graduation, London was one of the cities that I really enjoyed as a place to live. This is a place that I could see myself working and living in and things like that. I said it like in videos, I loved it, but I didn't love it in the same way I loved like Venice, right? Like as a tourist, and this is like touristy and beautiful. In London, I felt like I was in New York. Oh yeah, this is kind of a vibe, like I could live here. It's just been on my radar to live abroad for at least a year. And since then, London has kind of been the prime place that I've been thinking about. Like, yes, I want to move to London one day. And one day is now. That really is it. Whenever I bring this up, because people are curious about what I'm doing, and I say like, you know, I'm thinking about moving to London because it's been in process for a little bit, they're like, why? Like, is work bringing you there? It's like, no, I legit just want to move there for a while and experience a different culture for a longer period of time. The only other place I've lived for an extended period was like South Africa for 6 months. But now is the time where I think that the world is changing, and it's a prime opportunity for me to live somewhere else and still be connected to a law firm in New York. So now I'll get into the how part of it. I will not be transitioning into a London attorney. Right now I'm going through the process of getting a visa. So if there's delays and all this kind of stuff administratively, it'll be because of my visas getting delayed, which I don't foresee, but you know, who knows what will happen. We didn't foresee a lot of things that happened recently, right? So I'm getting a visa. As an American, you only can stay in London for up to 6 months without leaving. It was really unclear to me as I was doing my research how long you had to come back to America for. Was it like I had to do 6 months and then I could do a month in America and then 6 months again? Because that was unclear, I just wanted to straight go the visa process and not even have to worry about coming back to America, whether it was like for a week or like what if it was 6 months. Like I had no idea. What's the point of going and contacting an immigration lawyer and having to administratively figure it out when I can legit just get a visa and be able to stay there for however long as I want to, as long as my visa gets cleared. And in order for me to go through that process, you need your employer to sponsor it. And there's 2 ways you can get sponsored. Well, there may be more than 2. The 2 ways that I am aware of from my research that you can get sponsored is like a company or an organization, a firm, etc. in London can sponsor you to come work for them, or your office, like for example now the New York office will give you like a certificate and you're basically going to work for them in London but as a New York attorney. So like difference, if I would have had to go to London, I don't know, would I have to become a solicitor? I don't know any of that kind of stuff. But because I'm not going that route, I'm getting sponsored through a firm in New York to go work in their London office. It's a bit different. I don't know if I can or even will be working on London deals. All the logistics is still getting figured out, but I know for a fact that I'll still be working on New York deals and things like that. The timeline is a bit tricky, right? Because you're 5 hours ahead, or sometimes I think around daylight savings and stuff, you're 6 hours ahead. Or maybe 4, like I don't know which way it goes. That makes a difference when you're working late or waking up early and things like that. So that all needs to be figured out and it's still being worked out. But I am for sure moving to London. I am for sure going to be working as an attorney in London. And I just wanted to kind of let you guys in on the process now while I'm going through it, like while I'm going through the visa process, while I'm going through the moving process, while I'm looking for apartments. I wanted to take you all on this journey with me because I know a lot of people may want to be expats and just have no idea how to do it, like me. So now I'm gonna show you how to do, like how I'm getting it done. I'm moving to London by myself. I know some people are probably thinking about that. I'm not really dating anyone seriously enough to move to London with them. I'm legit just going out there by myself. Tons of friends want to come visit, obviously. I'm going on in December for my birthday, so I'm celebrating my birthday there, but that won't be my official move. I'm gonna be moving a little later, and I'll talk about that a little later, and I'll break down the timeline when there's more clarity on my end, because it's still up in the air as far as timeline, but it is something that I'm foreseeing will happen within the next couple of months, and we'll talk about where our channel's going, all that kind of stuff. Like I don't know for sure if I'm gonna love it. Everyone keeps saying I'm gonna love it based on how, like, the things that I enjoy, and that's a plus. Like my Morehouse brother lived in London for a couple of years. He got his MBA out there. I've been talking to him about it a lot, and he thinks I'm gonna enjoy it. He's introducing me to people. Tons of people are introducing me to people. Like, that's one thing I didn't realize, that I'd have such a strong network or connection to London. Another reason I wanted to move to London is because I wanted a completely new start. And I'm not saying this is interrupting the new start, but it is amazing to see how many people I can connect with in London before even moving there. I've been talking to, you know, this woman from my job. That's super helpful. I've been talking to some people from Colombia. One of my Spelman sisters connected me to another one of my Spelman sisters' sister who lived there since like 2014. She's been helpful when it comes to looking at apartments and just like answering all of these questions that I just don't know anything about. And that's been extremely helpful. And I feel like when I do move there, I won't be lonely, or I won't feel as if I have no one that I can reach out to and get help from if I needed it. The only places I've lived now are like Atlanta and New York, and I'm back in New York, and then right now I'm in DC, but I'm close to New York. I want to do something completely different, which is also one of the reasons I wanted to go to California. So this is that, right? Like I'm moving to London, don't know what the hell London culturally is like beyond the period that I was there after bar study and what I see on TV and what I hear from like my aunts that live there, and my stepmom lived there, my stepdad lived there. So now I'm gonna delve in it for myself, and I'm really excited. Like this is a very exciting period for me in my life. It's a transitional period is what I would call it. Like I feel like I am entering the next stage of my life, and it will start with like this move to London. I guess that's it. At this point, I'm just rambling. Let me know if you have any questions about what's going on. I know you guys have tons of questions about what's gonna happen with the channel, which we will answer. I promise we'll answer that. And I'm just gonna enjoy the next 2 months with my family and friends. Yeah, like I'm moving to London. So shout out to all my UK supporters. We outside. Later, guys.